Welcome to the committee. If you could please state your name for the record and present your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Lori Schluttenhofer. I am co-president and CEO of Services for Opportunity Partners, a nonprofit organization that provides residential, employment, and day support services to Minnesotans with disabilities. I also serve on the board of directors for MOHR, the Minnesota Organization for Habilitation and Rehabilitation, which is a statewide association of over 100 nonprofit organizations providing employment and day support services to Minnesotans with disabilities. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on the governor's budget proposal. When the proposal was released, it was extremely disappointing to see the proposed state funding reductions for waiver-funded disability employment and day support services that we have been working hand in hand with our colleague providers and the Department of Human Services to continue to provide community-based services and see the possibilities for people with disabilities to be included in their communities. There are two proposals specifically that we are very concerned about and have a huge potential impact, negative impact on services. The first, found on the bottom of page 133 of the Governor's Department of Human Services section, would reduce the absence and utilization factor for day services for people. Now, just to put it the most simply, the utilization factor accounts for the fact that we need to have staff on duty, we need to have services available, we need to have transportation services available for people who, because of their disability, may not be able to attend every day. Currently, that factor is set in the rate framework as 9.4%. The governor's proposal would roll that back to 3.9%. To put that in real terms, real world terms, our organization, Opportunity Partners, experiences an absence rate of approximately 11% for people. We do not choose to put attendance requirements in place in order to be able to pay our staff and pay the bills. Instead, we try to make sure that we have all of those services available for people when they need them. What this would equate to for us is about a 5 to 6% cut in the rates we are paid to provide services. That would very roughly for us amount to approximately $500,000 a year. Again, not in increases that won't go into place, but cuts to revenue we've already invested in our staff and our programs. And I would like to, further elaborate those services under day and employment they support people to develop lifelong learning interests and enrichment to get people out and included into their communities so that they can be valued members, respected as part of our society. The second proposal, which is found on page 136 of the DHS section, proposes to cap the scheduled adjustments, inflationary adjustments to the rates. In January of 2026, under current law, there would be an adjustment based on inflationary factors and data coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the CPI. The governor proposes to roll that back and cap at 2%. This would frankly have a very devastating effect. We have been speaking with members of the legislature for a number of years about how we are playing catch up with the private sector to be able to confront the workforce crisis that we have and pay competitive wages. We know that most of the rates that we receive go into the staff who provide the service, and making and cutting off the ability to compete in this very difficult workforce would have a devastating impact and reduce access for people who are in critical need of these services. We know that we all as a state have a really hard job before us this session in making some choices. We only hope that this committee will reject the governor's proposal and bring us back to the drawing board to work together to find a solution that gets us to a viable state budget, but not at the expense of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in this state. Thank you. I'd entertain any questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Schluttenhofer, for your testimony today. And next we have NAMI.